वितरितमवतीर्णं ज्ञानभक्तिप्रशान्ति प्रणयगलितचित्तं जीवदुष्पाशोषणं धृतसहजसमाधिं चिन्मयं कोमलाङ्गं विमलपरमहंसं रामकृष्णं सदा नमामि। ॐ पद्मासनं दद्यात् सहस्रारचितमृतैः पाद्यं चरणयोर्दद्यात् मनस्पर्शं निवेदयेत् तेनामृतेनाशमनीयं स्नाह्यं तेन च स्मृतम् आकाशतत्त्वं वस्त्रं स्यात् गन्धस्यात् गन्धतत्त्वम् चित्तं प्रकल्पयेत् पुष्पं शोकं प्राणं प्रकल्पयेत् तेजस्तत्त्वं च दीपार्थं विवेक्यं स्यात् सुखं विभुः अनाहतत्वनिर्घण्टा वायुतत्त्वं च चामरं सहस्रारं भवेच्चक्रं शब्दतत्त्वं च कीटकं नित्यमिन्द्रियकर्माणि चाञ्चल्यं मनसस्तथा सुमेखलां पद्ममालां पुष्पं नानाविधं तथा अमायाद्यै भावपुष्पैः यद्भावगोचरम् अमायमनहङ्कारमरागममदं तथा अमोहकमदं अद्वैतलोभकौ तथा अमाश्रयं दशपुष्पं अहिंसा परमं पुष्पं पुष्पमिन्द्रियनिग्रहः दया पुष्पं क्षमा पुष्पं ज्ञानपुष्पं च मोदमहं केशगन्धः सर्वदेवदेवी स्वरूपाय श्रीरामकृष्णाय ॐ इदं सचन्दनपुष्पं सर्वदेवदेवी स्वरूपाय श्रीरामकृष्णाय नमः। वनस्पतिरस्तोदिव्यौगन्धाढ्यः सुमनोहरः आस्तेयं सर्वदेवानां सोऽयं प्रतिगृह्यताम्। ॐ ऐं सर्वदेवदेवेश्वराय श्रीरामकृष्णाय नमः। स्थापकाय च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे अवतारवरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमः। यथाग्निर्दाहिता शक्तिः रामकृष्णे स्थिता धिया सर्वविद्यास्वरूपां तां शारदां प्रणमाम्यहं। परतत्त्वे सदा लीनो रामकृष्णसमाज्ञया यो धर्मस्थापनरतो वीरेशं वन्दनाम्यहम्। So when you do arati now, yeah, when you sing, and you listen, you arati, do you need to play that or it will be just without that?
You want to face these people out in the right?
That is better, yeah.
They may sit somewhere over
Yeah,
there,
yeah,
either that way or we have to move the
Yeah.
table.
Yeah.
think this is better because they can see Thakur also.
Yeah. They can see Thakur also. Am I audible? Okay. So let us begin with our prayers for Bhagavad Gita. Om पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वाम् अनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम्. As this verse means that it is all the Vedanta books like Upanishads, they have been now presented in their essence uh, to illuminate the darkened consciousness of Partha, that is Arjuna, by the Lord Himself, Sri Krishna. But this is, Partha is only an excuse. What is, it is Arjuna Nimitti Kritya, as Shankaracharya explains there, it is Arjuna is only an excuse. Through Arjuna, it has been told to everybody, all who are in that state of confusion about who am I, what is the purpose of my life, and what should I do in this particular situation. And we all do feel that sense of confusion, and sometimes it gets so heightened that uh, we are we find it impossible to function. It becomes so intense that it becomes a sorrow of grief, and that we uh, are just uh, drowning in, and we need somebody to help us to uh, make us come out of it, to get us out of it. And thus we pray to God. Who else can help? And God is in this, as the uh, Hindus understand, God is the internal awareness in everyone, the sense of I in everyone. I in everyone is this God. In Bhagavad Gita itself and in many Upanishads, you find it that it is this uh, all pervading entity. Since God is all pervading, and this is the logical way of looking at it, friends. If God is all pervading, and God is pervading me as well. Hmm. And so that God is in me too. That is And where is it? How it does it function? God is my true self. Whatever I call as I, when I analyze what is it, then it is God, because this I is same in all. So, in the course of this discussion, we have been seeing that many psychological problems that everybody faces have been analyzed thoroughly, and the solution has been pointed out unambiguously. The question, of course, are expressive of doubts and ambiguous situation. It is everything is kind of state of confusion. What should I do? But when the answer emerges, now the answer is quite clear. It is, uh, and not only clear, it is practical. Something that can be, should be implemented in one's life. So, this is the whole idea, and the topic from Bhagavad Gita that we have chosen for today's discussion is, why do people do wrong things even when they know that it is not right? It is not right. Still, why do we commit mistakes, or rather, the word mistake is too weak to say that. Mistake is when something happens inadvertently, we call it mistake. When we are fully aware that this is not right, and still, as it were, we are forced to do that, then it is difficult to call it just a mistake. It is, in a way, a crime. But it is not a crime also, because we are kind of forced to do it by, as it were, by somebody else. If like somebody hijacks the plane and then holds gun to the commander or the captain and says, do this, you have no alternative but to follow that. So somebody, as it were, is holding gun to my head and is making me do these things. So these ideas are very important, and they come uh, at many places in Bhagavad Gita, but today's talk we are in the context of the third chapter, where this well-known question appears from Arjuna. It is, Arjuna is evolving as we see that as the knowledge gets absorbed, our life changes. We are elevated go to a higher level, and then the questions of that level start coming up. Arjuna's first question was just, Lord, I am suffering. Take me out of this suffering. I am stuck in this mire. Please take me out. That's it. A common level practical question. There is no mention of God or divine or self and all that, a liberation, no such expression which is common in case of, as a religious person, we require, ask for such things. How shall I get liberation? How shall I see God? Where the God is after all? So all these questions, they begin a religious discourse as such. But here the discourse does not begin with that. It begins with the very common question of all human beings. One thing is very clear, that we all have suffering. We suffer in this world. That is, common and we don't like it. Do we like to suffer? What Vivek? Do you like to suffer? And no, suffering is there, but that doesn't mean I want it. It is there, but I want to get rid of it. And so that is the first question of Arjuna. That is how this treatise of Bhagavad Gita begins. Terrible confusion. And what should I do? What should I not do? And various ideas are causing riot in the brain. So the question was asked at that level. But when Sri Krishna started giving that illuminating discourse, in the second chapter, we see that it has been told that yes, look, learn to discern between the changing and the unchanging. And that topic continues in Bhagavad Gita at various levels in different chapters. But the body dies, but the self does not die. It is know this. That was the emphasis on second chapter in the beginning, and the next part of second chapter is the discussion on practicality. All right, this all sounds intellectually very nice, but can one actualize it in life? And Lord says, of course, one can. Otherwise, what's the use of all this blabbering? It is because all this is uh, practically implementable. It is for practical implementation that it has been told, and not for just theoretical understanding. And tells that that is what is called yoga. Yoga is the practical aspect of what we theoretically understand. So that what you theoretically know becomes your tangible practical experience. You got this address, then you might look where it is, you might look at the directions how to go. But if you do not actually drive, then it is meaningless. The directions are meant for your driving here, isn't it, Papaya? Ah, it is for driving here. That is, so the directions are very practical. Means, yes, but you have to now change your lifestyle. Hmm. That is the yoga. If you don't change lifestyle, means you sit at home, and then how can you reach then a place that you want to reach? One has to therefore change, and that change causes difficulties. We are very inertiatic people. uh, you have learnt that simple Newton's laws of motion. First law is the law of inertia. It is called law of inertia. That unless an external force is applied, the things remain as they are. They don't move. Uh, if you are sleeping, and then you have to put an external force, say alarm or something, to wake you up. And so then it titillates you, you need to wake up. So, and still it requires, some effort. So, uh, even such simple act requires effort. So, changing our habits, changing our awareness, to see the truth, to go beyond this confusion, certainly requires efforts. But is there an alternative? There is no alternative unless you put in the efforts. Sure, it is people want these easy, quick fix that come for free. No, they won't work. Somebody is severe and will take me out of this. No, that does not happen. It is those ideas are good for uh, people to say, at least see the possibility and come to a devotional level that could be useful. But we should be courageous to say it is, we like to get cheated as it were. That there is some savior sitting somewhere beyond the clouds, and then if I pray to that supernatural being, then that being will shower grace or something on me, and then I will get liberated. I don't have to do anything. It is, that is not true, friends. It doesn't happen that way anywhere in any religion. It is every religion in its true sense gives so much emphasis on practice. Practice gradually will bring this knowledge at a functional level, and that is called yoga. It is uh, uh, not for only some time in the day, but at all times we have to do this practice while doing the work. That is an important aspect there, because first question that comes to many people. Yesterday, I had a long conversation with one lady. She said, I have such a demanding job. Can I actually realize God while being in this demanding job? So surely it is. Look at me. I too have my works. Uh, may not be as intense as you are doing, but I too have my work. So I do it. And yet I am sure I am moving on the path. So, and Lord Krishna says to Arjuna, look at me. I do not take a moment's rest. And yet, the moment I am established in truth. So, uh, this delusion has been kicked out that I have to stop working to do spiritual practice. And so, then almost all 99.9% people will say, that's then not for me because I have to do work. I am busy all the time. And so it is not for me. That is not advocated at all. While you are doing the work that you need to do, this transformative force has to be applied. Mm. It is not when you are just relaxing. It is, in fact, those who do work, they alone will be able to achieve this in life. Those who are idle, they will not be able to do it. So, Krishna tells Arjuna to be very active and do your duty. Don't swerve from whatever you need to do. Concentrate on that. Do your work. Ma manusmara yuddha cha. And keep on thinking about me, do the work and think about me means God, think about God. And having come to this, the third chapter is about the details of this yoga of action, that it is the it has been described in details with the example of a sacrifice, and then has been told. I am reading the 34th verse here, that remember there are uh, the worldly attractions, they are going to be there. Just because you have decided that you will do spiritual practice doesn't mean all those things will vanish from earth. They will be there, and your senses will get dragged towards them. But you have to now learn to restrain them. इन्द्रियस्येन्द्रियस्यार्थे रागद्वेषौ व्यवस्थितौ तयोर्न वशमागच्छेत् तौ यस्य परिपन्थिनौ. Attachment and aversion of the sense organs for their respective sense objects are natural. Let none come under their sway. They are one's highway robbers. They are the highway robbers. See, there are these things doesn't mean I have to succumb to them. These two things are different. That there are the attractive objects, the senses get pulled towards them. Yes. Now the question is, do I succumb to it or not? You go, say, to a mall, see many objects, and they are kept there for sale. But do you buy everything? The conscientious buyers, they see what they need and buy accordingly. And not just because they are there in the shop, they would buy it. It is like that. We should see what is right and what is beneficial for me. Take that. The senses, they will drag us to the objects. Ah, they just see when one takes a dog for a walk. Ah, now what happens? The dog on a leash, but the dog drags. Ah, now you have to remember you are taking the dog for a walk, not the dog is taking you for a walk. You see. Ah, so you have to see that the dog is not allowed to go where it should not be going. That is why there is the leash. When the dog hears the bark of another dog, wants to go there uh, to meet its friends. So keeps on barking and starts stretching the that leash. So, but you don't let that dog do it. You pull it. Uh, when you see somebody walking nearby, and then the dog wants to smell that fellow, wants to go there. You do not want to scare the other person, so you pull the leash. So you have to control it. So therefore, try. First, it may appear it will not work, but with efforts, things become uh, possible. It is you have to put in efforts, then they become very natural. It is so. And remember, if you succumb all your uh, poise of the mind, all your strengths of your intellect and mind, they will be just robbed from you. They are these attractions and repulsions. They are these highway robbers. That is how this translation here says that Paripanthinao means that the robbers. Panthinao is means highway. Pantha is the road. So you are on the road to liberation. But if you do not, take precaution against these thieves, then you will be robbed. So, and don't get into the idea that, well, the method that I have been given to use or employ, that method is not good. Somebody else is doing much better. This is again a very natural tendency in human beings. When the progress is anyway difficult, but I feel that my path is not right. It is very slow and has lot of obstacles, very difficult to negotiate. Whereas, look, that fellow is moving fast. Hmm. And so you want to do that. No, don't do that. It is, and that is why people keep on changing the lanes, while driving. My lane is slow. That is why there is what is called Murphy's Law. That the lane that you are in is slow, always. Whatever lane you go into, the lane that you go in is the slow lane. So, it is so they don't do like that. Follow your path that is they suitable for you. Do not think of the pastures are always green. On the other side of the fence, the grass is green. Yeah, but that's you. It is not available to you. Suppose somehow or other you acquire that other compound, then you will start seeing the where you were as the very nice uh, green thing. So therefore, this is warned against that swadharme nidhanam shreya paradharmo bhayavaha, that hold on to your path. Here, dharma does not mean that particularized religions like Hinduism or Islam or Christianity or Judaism, not in that sense. It is your path is called dharma here. The path that you are going by. So that path is good for you. So and suitable for your constitution. Do not go to change it just because somebody else is following some other path. That is disastrous. Now all this Arjuna is hearing and then finds that I want to do that, but there are difficulties. What difficulty he is asking that, that it is a very important verse that I want to follow my path, but as it were, someone drags me away from that in spite of my not wanting. So, very beautiful verse. This Arjuna Uvacha, Arjun's started asking this question. Arjun spake that this is the verse number 36 in third chapter. अथ केन प्रयुक्तोऽयं पापं चरति पूरुषः अनिच्छन्नपि वार्ष्णेय बलादिव नियोजितः. Then impelled by what does a person commit sin or crime, though against one's wishes? O Krishna, carried away as it were by force. by compulsion, as it were, that we are driven to do certain things that we don't actually want to do. Somebody is holding gun to my head, do it, and I am forced to do it. I don't want to. That he says, Baladiva niyojitaha anichannapi. I don't want to do it, but by force I have been made to do it. What can be? No. And who is that? You just spoke of the highway robbers, but who are these highway robbers in my mind who take me away from the path? I don't want to do something, but I am forced to do something. Then I repent. Why did I do it? But it is as it were, I am not in the control of my faculties. Somebody forces me, as it were, to do it. Who is that fellow? Who is that enemy of mine? And the answers, as I mentioned in the beginning, while there is a confusion in the questioner, there is no confusion in Lord who is answering. He very clearly says that it is Kama Esha Krodha Esha Rajo Guna Samudbhava Mahashano Mahapapma Vidhi Namiha Vairinam. It is this sensual desire, it is anger born of the Rajoguna, of great craving and great sin. Know this as the enemy here in human life. Let us try to go a little deeper and understand the essence of this. That he says that the desire, we all get desire. And then all these desires, as it were, they crystallize or get united in what is called the sex desire. All the other desires, they combine, as it were, in what is called the desire for sex, which also is desire for progeny, continuation. It is the desire for continuity of life, as it were. Although it is not expressively coming like that, but that is how all the desires seem to just merge in it. The desire for pleasure merges in it. It is, we do not see it in its the true form. What is actually happening is that this is the desire, truly speaking, to attain oneness, which is our true nature. It is, there is no duality. uh, all this is to see that oneness is our true desire. And like the various bottles of water, uh, now water is the same, the bottles are different. So now that oneness of the water, oneness of the existence is prompting us to become one. And therefore, you see things that attract us, oneness with them makes us happy. It is the example I gave many times is that the cookie there and the Shubham somewhere else, then that doesn't make Shubham happy. When does Shubham become happy? When the distance between Cookie and him vanishes, the duality vanishes. When Cookie and Shubham becomes one. So all these pleasures are like that. But That is, since it is not real oneness, again after 1 minute, that craving again shift to something else, and that's it. So therefore, this oneness is prompting us. But the way that ignorant people see is okay, tie all the bottles together. That is not oneness again. You are just busying yourself with bottles. They are different. Just shift your awareness that it is the water is same in all. This is the shift in the awareness that has to come, friends. And the desires, therefore, don't allow us to make this shift. So they are our enemy, kama, desire, and krodha, the anger. We all know that anger is bad. Even the people, when they say that the desire is not bad, but anger is bad, everybody kind of knows anger is bad. Sometimes we try to label it as righteous anger. It is. Again, yesterday I was having a conversation with a lady, and then she was speaking about her problem of anger. Becomes very, very angry. So, uh, said, but why? Why do you get, isn't it hurting you? Yes, but I think that I am right. I am right. Said, okay, you can be right. Uh, but getting angry, is it right or not? I'll have to learn to separate it. That it is, you have right in the sense you have right to your opinion. Uh, and you have to acknowledge there that somebody else will have the right to that their opinion too. So, but the anger wheels up. It is uh, said that one tries to justify it. That no, this is not that kind of anger. My anger is righteous anger. Righteous anger. What is the definition of it? If you analyze, my anger is righteous, that's anybody else's anger is not righteous. And that is how it gets into. So, therefore, it is not a good thing. And it is connected with desire. That is a very important master stroke, psychologically speaking, uh, that they most important thing to see that our desires they become anger because any desire in the world doesn't get satisfied as it is mentioned here. It is desires have unending hunger, unending. They more and more you feed to the desire, it wants more. It flares like the fuel poured in the fire, and the fire flares up further. So the object of desire put in the that desire, fire of desire, it just flares up further. So we have to know this, remember this, and that is how uh, we see that the desires are um, never be fulfilled. Now, there is exception. One desire can be fulfilled. Desire for God realization can be fulfilled. No other desire can be fulfilled. In another place, Shankaracharya comments on this and says, all of the desires they cannot be fulfilled basically because those objects are illusory, they don't exist. Ah, Say the desire to meet Lakshman can be fulfilled, but desire to catch horizon, uh, can it be fulfilled? Uh, how far you will have to go Sandhya to reach the horizon? Ah, Sandhya after Sandhya means evening after evening. Sandhya means evening. And the evenings after evenings will pass, but the horizon doesn't get reached because there is nothing like that. There is no object for that, and therefore that desire cannot be satisfied. Whereas the God, the self, is. It is easiness, and therefore the desire for that can be fulfilled. So, when this desire therefore doesn't meet fulfillment, it comes back to you, and that is anger. Ah, anger is because the desire is not fulfilled. Ah, some question arises, and that question has been asked to me several times. See that fellow, how terrible he is. Will I not get angry? That fellow is so bad. Okay, that fellow may be good or bad. Why should you get angry about it? Why you are getting angry? Are you changing the situation for of that person? Is that person going to become good by your anger? And no, it is anger. You can say it is natural, but just because it is natural doesn't mean it is justifiable. Hmm. That tendency to steal, also some people are just born with that, natural. It's a disease. And does it mean it is justifiable? It is not justifiable. Anger comes, and who gets hurt by that? Let us remember, I hurt myself by getting angry. Nobody else gets hurt because I become angry. We do things in anger and frustration that we later on repent. I tell that incident many times. A real incident happened many years back. One of our devotees, she tells that her brother, a younger brother, he was getting angry on something, and then he had to reach somewhere on time, and he was already late, and then was driving on that near Providence. There is that bridge, Fall River bridge there. So on that bridge, as he was driving, uh, the something happened to the car. The car stopped. Maybe he got a flat tire. I don't remember the details what he got. The car stopped, and in this anger, this what did this fellow do? He became so agitated, so angry, took out the keys and threw it in the river there. Now it is so stupid, but that is what happens with it, and this is not a made up thing. It is, yeah, we do even worse things. Yeah, when getting angry, somebody goes and bangs head on the wall. Huh. Ah. Now what happens? Ah, the head. It is good to have head, even if you are not using it much. So it is. This is the result of anger, and it is the anger is just the desire that is bouncing back to you, like you throw a tennis ball on the wall, and now the ball comes back to you. That is anger, the desire coming back to you. So it is Shankaracharya gives in the commentary this idea, and therefore they are one, they are not two, only one enemy. Sometimes that enemy appears in the form of desire. The same enemy at other times appears as anger, and one must know them to be your enemies. Very important statement. Vidhi enam iha vairinam. Know them to be your enemy. Why this has to be told? Because we consider that to be our friend. Bring that in. We think our desires, they make us happy. So we bring them in, invite them. Ah, give them nice place to stay in our mind. The desires appear to be our friend. No, they are the enemies. They are like those Trojan horses, you know. The desire is that Trojan horse. Uh, do you know, Vinay, the story of Trojan horse? Uh, yes, what is that?
Was basically like they were trying to get into the other city. I think it was like Troy.
Troy, yeah.
Yeah, so they built this fancy horse, and it like appeared as though it was a gift. And inside of the horse was all the military. And so as soon as they wheeled it in, they came out and all
Yeah.
sort of havoc and took over.
So it's like that. Though that horse was actually carried by that's those city people itself inside. It was a walled city, and the enemy could not get entry. So they exactly as he said, they dragged it. Now the enemy is inside, and that is the desire. Yes, you wanted to have a something else. Well, it is as I mentioned, these desires they come to us in a very charming form. They appear to be very good, very nice. Do not fall prey to them. Do your duty. Okay, I have a job to be done with this child, uh, and I want to give the child good education. But do not desire that it is that the child will get well educated. That is beyond your purview. Do your duty. It is up to that. Do not harbor desires. So that is why many parents have this problem. A problem means they want to do uh, good to the child. Nothing appears to a very nice thing, but then the uh, child if doesn't become like that because child has its own tendencies, and so then the anger wells up. It is, yeah, because it is a desire. No desire is good. A very important question. Thank you for asking it. It is, this question gets asked so often that there are the good desires. Okay, yes, there are some desires which are better than other desires. But in essence, they also will have similar results in the sense they will generate anger, they will not let you go on the path to become liberated. They will keep on binding us more and more. Yes, it is good. Instead of having a desire to go and murder somebody, that is better. Okay, let me give good education to my child. Yeah, that desire certainly is, yeah. If you, yeah. But it is, Well, even if the child is successful, that desire is a bondage. Yeah, it is. See the where the things come from. Uh, it is coming from mm, my child. There is my to it, and it creates that kind of bondage. My, huh? Huh? Oh, the question I repeated, I think. Well, yeah, that in essence I repeated that the about the what about the such good desires, like let the child be getting good education. I want the child to become a good person, and that is of course, and it is there in every parent, but that is better than the opposite of it. Let my child get terrible education. It is, but still, being a desire, it will have its effects. Therefore, do your duties. Do not get into that desire thing. It is uh, a big important thing to learn this balance, that I will do the duty but will not have the desires, because the desires and they have the other friends also. You may have a good desire, but these good desires are connected with so many bad desires as well. There is no desire that is perfectly good. It is, let me help people. I want to give help to many people, and that means the desire on the face of it looks so nice desire. Uh, but that means look at the psychology of it. That means you want uh, there to be people who need your help. You want people there out to who need your help. If they are not there, what are you going to do? This is a big, what I should say, a psychological conundrum that one gets thrown into. Doing good to the world means the world has to be real and must be there to help it out. And that means there should be the suffering in the world that you want to remove. So you want to give money to people. That means there should be poor people that in the world. That is a part of that desire, huh? Uh, yeah, but it is so. Do the duty. Don't have this desire that it is. Yeah, the poor people should be there. Yeah, it is. If you find somebody, do that, but don't harbor the desire to do it. Desires, they create that sense of bondage in us, anger in us. This is, yes.
Can you keep the difference between a goal and a desire?
Oh, yes, there is the goal, and therefore, the goal that I was telling about earlier. Uh, there is the goal can be only God realization or self realization. That I mentioned, that desire is okay because that desire is about something that is. All other things, they are desires even when you call it goal, because it is not goal. You are calling something as goal, but it is not goal. Only God realization can have this. Therefore, Sri Ramakrishna Every now and then, if you cannot turn 2 pages of the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna before encountering this statement that God realization is the only goal for human beings. The goal. All other things, they are desires, and you name them as goal because you want to get it. So it is the goal is only realizing God is divine. That is fine, have that desire. But all other desires, yes.
So my question is, so I take away that it's like removing desires in general, which I think is very hard as a normal person. And then I think, this the one goal is self-realization and God realization. Would you say that, like, you talk about focusing on your duties? That seems to be more like in the present of what you should be doing.
Yeah.
Do the duties kind of shift throughout your like life? Because I feel like my duties when I was younger are a little bit different now, getting a little older.
Yes, you are perfectly correct there. The duties shift as you move in life. The duties will shift. Do the duties which are applicable at that stage, at that level of your life.
How do you find out what those duties should be? I guess I'm kind of
What?
confused.
Yes, his question is what is the duty? It's a long question, big question. Uh, to answer in one sentence is very difficult. Uh, I would suggest that you read that small book of Vivekananda, Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga. And, but in something I can tell in a very short few words is this, that something that you have to do and yet you don't want to do. That is your duty.
Okay, that's a good barometer. Absolutely.
Something that you have to do and you don't want to do. That is your duty. Like a student knows that I have to study and doesn't want to study. That is, even those who are sports persons, they know that their duty is to go and practice, and they don't want to do it. It is that duty has this association. It is. Uh, it is, they like to do it still. They may like to do that, but they should not do it because they like it. It is because they have to do it, they must do it. That's it. Then it is duty. It is many times, that becomes how human mind cheats oneself. We are experts in cheating ourselves. Something that I like to do, then I start calling it duty. Uh, that also happens. That also happens. I like to do something, and therefore I make it my duty. And therefore, thereby neglect actually what I really must do. It is that is how the duty is. It's a very funny idea. One friend of huh? It is no, now it is yours is a personal question, but it is yes. If you like to do it, you will not be able to stop it. Because the duty means do exactly what is needed and end it. Do not have this that And that becomes the problem of so many people. They like to do. It is so many, especially the people who have are middle-aged or cross middle-aged, they uh, think that to take care of their grandchildren is their duty. Eh, and then they go to it is not a duty, but because they get entangled with them, they get attached to them, they call it as their duty. It is, it can happen to anybody. Huh? That is true. It could be like that. Who knows? Therefore, examine. If you like it probably may not be your duty. Therefore, do it because you have to do it irrespective of whether you like it or you don't like. Usually, when it is duty, you will not like it. Mm. Yeah, usually. It is very, very tricky thing. The mind cheats so quickly that you like something and therefore, oh, okay, we will do one thing, we will complete this topic and then because a few verses which are very important here as to how to overcome this, that it is uh, firstly, in the next couple of verses, Krishna tells that uh, everything you will see, your life is covered with this desires and anger. So the question is where to begin? Hmm. Where to begin? Everything is, as it were, uh, gotten into this desire and anger. How to stop it? As I mentioned right in the beginning, Bhagavad Gita is a very practical book. Nothing in this is impossible, and nothing is like you cannot work on it. Everything is, there is a path for everyone. So you have to begin, and first you have to find out that uh, which is free from this. Uh, is there anything free from this desire? No, in whatever you call yours, uh, the people around, or everybody has desires and therefore anger. And therefore, this question doesn't get asked also, although it is a torment for everyone. Since it is torment for everyone, I am fine. But if somebody wants to realize the goal of life, somebody who wants to be happy in life, and everybody says, I want to be happy in life, but does exactly things which is going to make me unhappy in life. It is, that is how it happens. Yeah, there are so many people. They uh, say, I want to do this. It is, I will be so happy with that. Uh, that uh, one girl I know of wanted to get married and was, yes, got married. Very nice, yeah. Uh, and then the complaints began, it is, yeah, it is, I never thought he is such a bad person. What is bad person about it? Not bad at all. Uh, you don't understand. Yeah, of course I don't understand. But yeah, what happened? So you never do anything to become unhappy, but the result is that. Now you think, let me have a child, then that will make me happy. The same thing continues throughout, you know. What Lakshmanji, isn't it? Yeah. So that is this story of this. So how to deal with it? You have to find out that see your uh, sense organs are not going to be very helpful in this because they are under the control of this desire. They already have been captured by the desire. All your uh, these instruments that you have, that is the next verse here, indriyani mano buddhi asyadhishthanam uchyate etair vimohayatyesha jnanam avritya dehinam. The sense organs, the mind and the intellect are said to be its abodes. Its means desire and anger, abode of that. Now all these citadels of yours are under its control. So how are you going to fight this enemy? There is one thing that is very powerful. You know, suppose think of it as a battle strategy that you are fighting a battle. Now, uh, you have to find your locus standi, as it were, where which is not under the control of enemies. So, if these things, your guns, your ammunition, everything that you think is yours is under the control of that enemy, you cannot find it. How can you have the battle? So, look at that indriyani mano buddhi asyadhishthanam uchyate. And suppose even if you find something like which is not under the control of enemy, that thing has to be powerful enough to uh, defeat the enemy. Is that powerful enough? It is told here that therefore you have to take the stand on uh, that it is tasmat tvamendriyanyadau niyamya bharatarshava papmanam prajayyenam jnana vijnana nashanam, that it is you have to take refuge in God who is far more powerful than that. It is otherwise there is no way you can defeat this enemy. It is look at this. This it gives in this 42nd verse the sequence. And let me read the translation. Uh, that therefore, O bull of the Bharata race, that Arjuna is being addressed, and that addresses with some significance that you are so powerful. uh, don't succumb. It is that somebody may be your witness, but if you see your witness is wavering from the line, immediately declare it as a hostile witness. It is hostile, otherwise, it will be used as against you. Those who know law, you know that they practice law in the courts, so they know that they have asked somebody to witness for them, but the witness starts changing the line, and then that could go against your arguments, and then therefore the attorney immediately says, this is hostile. I declare the witness to be hostile. So we should see immediately that whom we call ours, our senses, our minds, mm, our intellects, they are all under the capture of this enemy, hostile. Control them, do not give them free rein. So it is because they destroy jnana vijnana nashanam, that controlling the senses as the first step kill the sinful factor, the destroyer of knowledge and realization. Destroy that. It is dog. Is you have the leash, control it. It is, and then where to take stand on? Look who is more powerful. Hmm. If you are, suppose, take the same example. You are holding the dog by the leash. Now, the leash must be stronger than the pull of the dog, isn't it? Otherwise, the leash will break. Moreover, your hand should have more power. Otherwise, the that dog and the leash both will go away if your hand is not powerful enough. So, who is there is the sequence of power, you see. That is, the who is stronger? Indriyani paranyaho. This is, I would say, a supreme psychology is presented in these verses. Bhagavad Gita actually, and even you see in any spiritual practice, this psychology is important. How our mind works. It is Indriyani Paranyao. Indriyebhya Param Manaha Manasastu Parabuddhi Yo Buddhe Paratastu Saha. That the sense organs are said to be superior to body. The mind is superior to the sense organs. The buddhi or intellect is superior to the mind. And that which is superior to the intellect is he. He means the self or God. That is superior to all of them, and it is not affected by this enemy. Hmm. Actually, your true self has no desire, ah, because it is in everyone the same. Hmm. There is no possibility of any desire there. It is bliss itself. How can it lack happiness? Ah, you don't add anything to sugar to make it sweet. Ah, so it is sugar is sweetness. Similarly, my true nature is bliss. No possibility of desire there. Take stand on that. And that is far more powerful than any others. All derive power from that. It is, yeah, like if you plug that power source out, all those things which work on that power, they will automatically lose their prowess. So similarly, it is like that. If the life is gone, all the functions will be gone. The eyes will not see, the ears will not hear, the legs will not move. It is exactly like that. It is so this self takes stand on that and defeat Jahishatru Mahabaho Kamarupam Durasadam. That is the 43rd and the last verse. There is lot of discussion This is a great book, Swami Ranganathananda's this discussion on these verses. So, this is volume one. Yeah, there are three volumes, but this chapter is in the first volume. So, uh, that it says, thus you take stand on that true self and destroy this horrible enemy of yours. Third chapter. Yeah. So, uh, I know you have many questions, but yes, come on. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Well, uh, do it as you have to do it, not as a desire, as a duty. That I told earlier also. That do it as duty, but do not go out uh, that uh, that let me make first people poor and then let me help them. Don't do that. Don't. I want to help the sick people. So let me first make them sick, and then serve them with medications. And that kind of, yeah, it is one. Oh no, don't say that. It is, yeah, it is one one doctor, uh, opened by the side of his clinic or whatever, an eatery. And such eatery that eating food there will make people sick and come to him. And those who come to him, then they afterwards need something to eat, so would go to that eatery. Complementary businesses, you see. So let it not become like that. Mm. I am not telling something that doesn't happen. It does happen. That okay, uh, in especially the politicians and all, they want to show that they are helping people, and so keep the people poor so that they will come to you to get help, and thus you will get publicity. So don't have that. Sri Ramakrishna therefore said, don't have such desire. That in Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna it comes. And even in Swami Vivekananda's, you said that, and then Swami Vivekananda says this as well, that it is never think that the world will become better. The world is like the curly tail of dog. Keep on straightening it, it will not get straightened. Yeah. So, if we have that desire, then we will get frustration also. Hmm. So, therefore, it is important that yes, do that as your duty, but not because you like to do that. And desire will prompt that kind of feeling of liking. Yeah. that that gets labeled as my duty. It is like that. Huh? Well, that is it is. You are an intelligent lady, so you understood it quickly, but it won't be so easy to for most people. They would portray it, as I am doing good to them. There was in the 1950s, 1960s, there was a psychologist, Eric Fromm. Yeah, Eric Fromm. So, very nice books. So, he mentions that actually, when you are prompted to take the sufferings of somebody away, actually, you are balming your own wounds. It is that is the word he uses. You are balming your own wounds. You find it hard, to see those things, and so and you want some satisfaction of doing some good in this. So you start doing that. It is balming your own wounds. Okay then. So we shall conclude with the closing prayers. And the next meeting, that is, there will be the worship of Divine Mother Durga Puja meeting on October 17, if this place is available. October 17, Sunday, October 17. Hmm? गीता सुगीता कर्तव्या किमन्यत् शास्त्रविस्तरैः या स्वयं पद्मनाभस्य मुखपद्माद्विनिसृता एकं शास्त्रं देवकी पुत्रगीतम् एको देवो देवकी पुत्र एव एको मन्त्रः तस्य नामानि यानि कर्माप्येकं तस्य देवस्य सेवा. Oh, I did not see any web questions. Was it being transmitted? One should have kept the phone and seen.
No, I was, for some time I was getting feedback from somebody.
Ah.
YouTube Studio. I don't know where to go right now.
Stop streaming. Somebody has pressed stop streaming.
No, we can stop streaming now.
No, it is stopped already.
No. Should we stop?